Hey y'all, I'm in the kitchen today and I'm going to be making what I've always called a mock caramel sauce because it doesn't contain all of the ingredients that caramel normally contains, but it is going to be made with sweetened condensed milk, some vanilla, and some salt. If you want it sweeter, you would want to put sugar in it because it's not going to be as sweet as you're used to caramel being from like the store. So you can modify the recipe and melt some sugar and butter on the stove and mix that in with my recipe to come up with a sweeter version. But in this case, we're just going to use sweetened condensed milk and vanilla and some salt to make it a salted caramel. I'm only going to do salted caramel on half of them and the other half will be just normal caramel. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using this little 1/4 pint jars, 3 of the sweetened condensed milk, which I'm going to show you the price of these. Now you can buy this milk-based caramel at the store for $4 a can. A little can this size is about $4 at the grocery store. So this is a savings. I have I have coarse kosher salt, my homemade vanilla extract. You can buy it at the store, of course. And then I have my crock pot because I'm going to be making it in the crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, you can do this on the stove. You'll just need to make sure that the water levels stay above your jars while you're cooking it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is empty all of my sweetened condensed milk into my bowl. If you were wondering what is in sweetened condensed milk, it says milk sugar. That's it, milk and sugar. So if you're allergic to dairy, then this is not the recipe for you. Alright, to save time, I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and do them all salted caramel. So I'm going to do a little bit more than a tablespoon of salt since it decided to pour out like that. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Someone inevitably is going to ask why this and why that. You can modify your recipes however you want. So I'm just going to stir the salt all in and the vanilla all in. Like I said, you can add some butter and you can melt some butter and sugar on the stove just to dissolve the sugar and then put that in here to make it sweeter. It already has some sugar in it, and because I eat this with apples, it's sweet enough for me. Alright, now I am sterilizing my lids, rings, and jars. I don't care what the alphabet people recommend, that's not my issue. So if you don't want to sterilize your jars and rings, don't. But I'm still going to do it. So now I am going to start putting this into all of my jars. I'm probably going to make a mess and I'll clean it up in a minute. Just fill all your jars up to that lowest ring there. So it's about a 1/4 inch headspace. I'm in a hurry because I still have to cook dinner after I get these started, so this is just something I wanted to get started tonight. I do most things after work or on the weekends. All right, there we go. So we filled up 3, 6, 7, 8, 8 of them. So because this is milk based, I am just going to use plain water to clean it, because vinegar and water vinegar and milk don't really go well together. It can taint your product. So I'm just gonna clean these up real quick with my warm water. I'm sure if you go slower than I did, you won't make as big a mess, but like I said, I'm short on time. So just gonna get these real good and clean. The most important part is that you get the rim clean, because that's what's gonna keep it from sealing if you don't get all that off the rim. The rest is pretty much gonna rinse off anyway, or you can clean your jars when you're done, because we get hard water stains here. Hard water leaves them all chalky. Some people that would bother, and they'd want to rinse the hard water off, the minerals. If I'm going to give them away, then I definitely do rinse the jars off so they look nicer. I've also noticed, since people stopped sterilizing jars and their lids and things, that they're having a higher failure rate on things sealing. And personally, I still believe that that rubber needs to be softened up in some hot water so that you don't have failed seals. So what works? I mean, if something works, why change it? I don't care that like I said, the alphabet people say you no longer have to sterilize everything. To me, that's, just silly. Did the science change? I mean, I don't know, whatever. I'm just going to keep sterilizing mine. And you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, any of these that don't seal, I'll just put it in the refrigerator and we'll use those first. Not a big deal, because this stuff, what I do, dip the end of my washcloth in there. These don't last long. And I'll give most of them away anyway. Neighbors, my children, my grandchildren, we have plenty of people to give them to. We give away more than we keep. Alright, so I'm going to get my lids and rings on here now. They're kind of hot. Did that dip down in there? Yep, it did. Just want to put them on finger tight, not real tight. If you put them on too tight, the air can't escape, and you end up getting, if you put them on too tight, the air can't escape, and we're trying to get the air out of the jar. Alright, so just putting all my lids and rings on. Make sure I put them all on. Alright, let's pull these out here. I had already put some water in my crock pot, and it's a little warm. It's not hot, but it is warm. And I'm going to start setting my jars in here. Let's see, move it out so y'all can see. All 8 of them should fit in here. If it's a concern of yours, you can put something on the bottom of the crock pot so that it's not directly touching the crock pot, but it's not a concern for me. So I want it covering the lids by 1 inch or 2, so I'm going to put some more water in here. And I can add water later too if I need to. I'm going to turn my crock pot up to high and set it for about 3 hours. I'm going to put the lid on here, and I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm looking for a brown color like you would, like a caramel color. You know what caramel looks like. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm going to be checking it every hour to see if we've reached that color yet. So high, crock pot on high, check it every hour. You don't have to do anything else but that. Normally I make these in the bigger jelly jars that are 1/2 pint. So I'm not quite sure how long these are going to take in these smaller jars. So we're going to learn together on these. So I'll be back in probably an hour to show you what it looks like after an hour, and it won't be much. But anyway, I'll be back in an hour. Okay, it has been 1 hour, and I'm just going to show y'all what it looks like after 1 hour. See, nothing's really happening because it takes that long for your crock pot to heat up. So I'm going to put that back down in there. My water level is still good. Put the lid back on. Start my timer for another hour. Alright, so there it is after 2 hours. It's more liquidy, but other than that, there's not much real change. It's not really any darker. So I'm going to be back in 2 hours. Alright, it's been 4 hours. It is getting darker. And technically, if you are okay with that color, you could stop now. But I'm going to keep going, and I will be back in about an hour. Okay, we have now been cooking this for 5 hours, and the color is getting there. Just want y'all to see this through the various stages. I could just say, okay, I'll be back in 6 hours. But I want y'all to see it so you don't give up on yours if you think it's not going as planned. But it's almost there. So, put it back in. My water level is still over the top. All is good. And I'll be back at the 6 hour mark. Okay, y'all, it has been 6 hours since we first started this salted caramel. There's the color, and I'm happy with that color. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my crock pot and let them sit here and start cooling off. In the meantime, I have cut up some apple, and I'm going to take the lid off of one and try it real quick. So you can see the color. I'm going to take my little apple, and as you can see, it's thickened up. Perfect. So like I said earlier in the video, this is not going to taste like the caramel you're used to, but it is great in coffee. It is good on ice cream. It's good with these Granny Smith apples. It's more of a dulce de leche, which, you know, us Texans understand what that is. but I think you will be really happy with this recipe. So you should give it a try. So as long as these all sealed, these will be going in my pantry. If you're not comfortable with that, then keep them in your refrigerator. They should keep for several months. So that's how you make caramel sauce. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope y'all have a great weekend.